everybody. Welcome. Here we go. It's that time again. Happy Tuesday as we start the week. Hope everyone had a great Labor Day holiday, of course. I did remember to say Tuesday instead of Monday. I almost said Monday, but anyway, here we go. Matt Connarton Unleashed, and we are live from the studios of WMNH 95.3 FM in glorious, and it is glorious, downtown Manchester, New Hampshire. Also on Comcast 97 if you're in Manchester. Streaming at WMNHradio.org. And on the Facebook, on the Matt Connarton Unleashed Facebook page. And, of course, you can go to my website, mattconnerton.com, for all of your live streaming options and social media links and contact info and show archives, etc., etc. Hello to our friends at Raw Talk Online, as well as Tomorrow Radio. And today is Tuesday, September 7th, 2021. So welcome, everybody. I do hope you had a good Labor Day. I'm not a big fan of Labor Day because Labor Day is kind of the unofficial end of summer. You know, Memorial Day is the unofficial start of summer. So I prefer Memorial Day because summer is my favorite time of year. I always hate to see it slip away. I get a little bit melancholy about it. I try not to, but at least the weather's nice. It's not too hot or humid. A little humid, but not bad, and hope the weather's good where you are. Of course, I do want to remind you we are proudly sponsored by the Hop Knot. For those of you watching online, you can see I've got my Hop Knot shirt. Don't go there today because Monday and Tuesday is their weekend, but they are open tomorrow. They're open Wednesday through Sunday. They have delicious gourmet pretzels. They have craft beer. They have wine. Thursday nights, the great Bill Cini does trivia night at the Hop Knot, which is very, very popular. Friday nights, of course, our friend Grant Lampton performs live at the Hop Knot as he continues his residency there every Friday night from 7 to 9 p.m. Speaking of Grant Lampton, he'll be here today, except he won't be here as Grant Lampton. Every Tuesday he comes in for the second hour as Mike Sudderth, his normal self. You know, on Friday nights, he goes into the phone booth and walks out with a guitar in his hand and transforms into Grant Lampton. But on Tuesdays, he is Mike Sudderth, and he comes in for his weekly Tweakonomics segment, which we get a lot of very positive feedback on the show about. People really dig that. So we look forward to seeing him in the second hour of today's program. The number to call, 603-250-6007. If you would like to enter the discussion, 603-250-6007. You can also text me at 617-917-4476. Tweet me at Matt Connarton or send an email to matt@mattconnerton.com. But the best thing to do, of course, so that we may hear and enjoy your dulcet tones, is give us a call at 603-250-6007. Let's see. As far as, you know, I know people typically expect a Crazy Joe update. A quick one. Our nemesis in New York City, Crazy Joe. Not much to say. Really hasn't been doing much, except he did post a new video that I have not had a chance to see yet. Except I did play the very beginning of it. Jenny sent me the link. Apparently he went on YouTube today and said he wants to keep his YouTube channel clean. Now, I haven't heard the rest of the video, so I don't know if he actually succeeds in doing that. But I will be very curious to see if perhaps something I said to him during our last interaction might have sunk in. But we will have tomorrow joining us via phone, Eric Pilcher, who is a friend of Dirk Don. Eric is going to be calling in the first hour. He is very upset about this whole Crazy Joe situation because Eric is a conservative Christian and feels that Crazy Joe gives conservative Christians a bad name. Probably with all the bigotry and the racism and the homophobia and all of that. So, but he's a friend of Dirk's, and I told him any friend of Dirk is a friend of ours. Speaking of which, Dirk Don is in the chat room, and Dirk says, someone help Crazy Joe get a lawyer since he's begging for one on YouTube. Oh my goodness, yes. If you are an attorney at law and you would like to represent Crazy Joe pro bono, of course, because he doesn't have any money, but he wants to sue Dirk Don of Arrogant Media, get in touch with Crazy Joe, I guess. Or perhaps you could reach out to Dirk Don to ask Dirk how to get in touch with Crazy Joe, because you would be reaching out to the person Crazy Joe wants to sue, trying to find out how to get a hold of Crazy Joe, the person who wants to sue Dirk, and the irony would just be delicious. But no one's going to help Crazy Joe with that. Other than that, really not much to say about Crazy Joe. And I know this is a very divisive subject with the audience. Some of you are probably relieved, going, oh, we've had enough of Crazy Joe. Some of you are probably disappointed. But as Crazy Joe continues to be deplatformed, I think we'll hear less and less from him. But then again, I always say that. And somehow he finds new bridges to burn. It's like I always say, if there was a nuclear war, the two things left would be cockroaches and Crazy Joe trying to get the Crazy Joe show off the ground and trying to find a lawyer to help him sue Dirk Don from Arrogant Media. By the way, please subscribe to the Arrogant Media YouTube channel. They do a lot of great content. I was watching the Plastic Paladins show. I think I'm saying that correctly, from the other night. But yeah, a lot of great stuff there. Make sure you give that a like. And or you should subscribe rather, and give their Facebook page a like, but subscribe to the YouTube. And tomorrow on the show, Dirk is going to be reviewing Insane Clown Posse, and he shared out a clip earlier of when they were on Howard Stern in the midst of their feud with Sharon Osbourne, of course, the wife and manager of Ozzy Osbourne. But apparently they had a bit of a falling out. Sharon Osbourne has had many a falling out over the years with various artists. Some people really don't like her. Some people speak very highly of her. Dirk says, so a prediction of mine was right. The Satanic Temple is trying to bring in protesters to the new Texas abortion laws, and they're making Satanists look like jackasses in the process. See, that's the thing, Dirk. Whether you're a Satanist like yourself, or a conservative Christian like Eric, you got people out there trying to make you look bad. It's terrible. It's terrible. And it reflects poorly on everybody else. I'll tell you. You just can't win in this world, can you? You just can't win. Anyway, that's why I try not to be anything other than just me. That's a song. I'm not trying to be anything other than what I've been trying to be lately. Who does that? I actually like that song. Oh, Gavin, what is his name? Not Gavin McLeod. He played Captain Steubing on the Love Boat. Gavin somebody, not Gavin McGinnis. He's the guy who founded the Proud Boys and then tries to pretend like he didn't actually found the Proud Boys whenever it's inconvenient for him. Gavin something. Somebody will know. Somebody in the chat room will know. I like that song. Literally the only song of his that I like. But I do look forward to Dirk Don's review of Insane Clown Posse for our segment tomorrow. That'll be nice. We'll have Dirk's friend Eric calling in the first hour, and then we'll at the top of the hour, of course, we'll play Dirk's segment. So that's been the one good thing about this whole Crazy Joe thing. The one positive is it's brought some of us together. That's how I met Dirk, is because of Crazy Joe. And then by extension, how I met Eric as well. So I look forward to talking with him. And apparently Eric is a wrestling fan as well. But I'm not, personally, I've never been a fan of Insane Clown Posse, although I will tell you this, and this is kind of a lesson in, judging people and prejudging people and why you shouldn't do it. So I used to be, this was a number of years ago, I was a manager at the Strawberries. Some of you will remember Strawberries. They eventually, they all got turned into FYE, but we had a Strawberries up in Guilford, Laconia area. And we had we sold, of course, CDs and DVDs and so forth. And we would have a lot of juggalos. That's, if you don't know, that's what they call the ICP fans. They call them juggalos. And a lot of the juggalos would come into the store. And I kind of grew to sort of hate them. I mean, I try not, hate's a strong word, but some of them were just really obnoxious. I remember we had this girl who worked there. Her name was Robin, and Robin was young. She was like 18, 19 years old. She was an adult, but she was young. And this juggalo comes in one day, and he's like, "Are you down with the clowns?" And Robin was like, "What?" He goes, "I said, are you down with the clowns?" It was just very awkward and strange. But there's another part to the story where I learned to love the Juggalos, but I'll tell that on the other side of this call. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
Hey, it's Eazy-G.
Eazy-G, I have a question for you. Are you down with the clowns?
Not really.
I didn't think so.
Not into the clowns.
I understand.
Not feeling the clowns.
Some people now. Are you not feeling?
I can barely hear you, Matt.
I
can
hear you quite well. I don't know why you can barely hear me. Perhaps you need to clean the wax.
Sometimes you get a bad connection.
Maybe you need to clean that wax out of your ears, there, Mister.
Let me try my other ear.
Try your other ear.
No, it's still bad.
It's still bad. Maybe it's your phone. Do you still have that Obama phone?
I don't know. Sometimes you get a dead zone. I tried to call somebody the other day. And I was on the road, and I couldn't call, and so I found out why, because my friend couldn't receive calls because he was busy. So he told me later, he said, I can't receive calls. So
your friend was busy. I'll tell you. Later. How did you handle that? Because Crazy Joe, if he tries to get a hold of somebody and they're busy, he freaks out and makes terrible videos about them. Did you do that?
I just called him later. He texted me, said I can't call right now.
Right. I understand.
So that was the end of that.
Okay. Very good.
But anyways, I spent way too much time on social media. Monday. So I had to shut myself off around 8 a.m. Maybe the rest of the day because I was spending way too much time on what happened on All Out. Surprise! Yes. All those people coming in.
AEW All Out, and
not good news for WWE.
I didn't see the pay-per-view, of course. I don't spend money on things like that. I'm a cheap SOB.
There's plenty of highlights to watch, and I watched way too many of them.
Well, so here's the thing. So what we did is Saturday night, we watched, Jenny and I was able to find on YouTube, they were getting yanked down, but I was able to find it, and we were able to watch it in time, CM Punk versus Darby Allin, which was excellent. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. Jenny really liked it a lot.
It was Saturday, that's right.
And then
it was Sunday. No, the pay-per-view was Sunday.
And then last night we were able to find on the YouTube, it hadn't been taken down yet, Lucha Brothers versus the Young Bucks in the steel cage. Great match, very impressive.
What day did you watch these guys? I thought the pay-per-view was Sunday, Matt.
Saturday. AEW does their pay-per-views on Saturday. Oh, wait, no, it was Sunday. I'm sorry. I've got my days mixed up. No, because of the holiday. I'm all screwed up. No, so we watched
CM... you watched it on Monday?
Yeah, we watched CM Punk versus Darby Allin Sunday night after the event, and then we watched the Lucha Brothers versus Young Bucks last night.
Oh, so those weren't supposed to be up on YouTube? AEW took them down?
Right, because it's a pay-per-view. If you didn't buy the pay-per-view, they want you to buy the replay.
Well, it's funny, though, because I saw some on YouTube, too. It was Daniel Bryan and talking to the three other friends there, talking to was kind of uncensored, too, because the end he said the F word, and because you can say that on YouTube, right?
Oh, anything goes on YouTube. Just ask Crazy Joe. You can.
But
use ethnic slurs.
Were those put up illegally too? Those the pop at the when the lights go off and they record it for later.
Yeah. Well, it depends. It depends who's recording it. I mean, AEW records things like that and puts them up on their YouTube channel.
Yeah, I watched the whole thing, and like I said, I watched way too much on social media on Monday. So I shut myself off the rest of the day. But Daniel Bryan was on there, and he was saying, I miss I love wrestling the other place, but he said I love wrestling here because they allow you to wrestle.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And Vince McMahon doesn't like that. He don't like that word. He wants entertainment.
They're right. In WWE, they're not wrestlers. They're sports entertainers is what they're called. He doesn't like the word
Daniel
wrestler.
Bryan wanted everybody that they're allowed to wrestle there.
Right.
Those are big names, Adam Cole.
Yeah.
And,
Adam Cole is amazing.
Ruby Riott, of course, she came in and won the Royal Rumble over there. And,
yep, she is now Ruby Soho.
And now they're talking about real names. I have to use a real name, obviously. But they're talking about, getting rid of more stars. It tells me that WWE, like you're saying for the longest time, Matt, they could be setting up for a sale. Yeah,
probably. I mean, Bray Wyatt's probably going to be the next one to end up in AEW. He's a free agent. I mean, I don't know when his no compete clause expires.
A lot of these good guys and girls go.
Mm-hmm.
It makes no sense to me. I mean, AEW is number one right now, I think, as far as wrestling goes.
Well, they're still a long way from catching up with WWE in terms of global
No, but they had a
reach
great
and
pay-per-view,
distribution.
though. I think best one of the year.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. I loved what I saw. By the way, Eazy-G, Rocky Huber in the chat room says, who else thinks Eazy-G looks like a shaven Paul Bearer?
Say that again?
Paul Bearer. He thinks you look like Paul Bearer.
No, I don't think so, no.
Ooh, yes.
But AEW keeps getting all these big stars in WWE. They're gonna become bigger than them.
Yeah, well, I mean,
you don't think so?
Well, I don't know if they'll ever be bigger because WWE is so successful, and they have those enormous TV deals, and they have their deal with Peacock, and but
I mean, they bring back all these guys. I mean, Brock Lesnar's not going to wrestle a lot. He's only going to wrestle like 9 matches in the next year or so. And John Cena's probably all done now. You know, I don't know.
Cena's still young enough.
Who knows what's going to happen to Finn Balor? They're going to push him aside. He's a great guy wrestling.
He should be in AEW. They'd know what to do with him.
You think so?
Yes, they'd know what to do with him.
But it's funny though, the guy they brought over to the AEW there, Adam Cole. I guess he's a bad guy now in AEW.
Which is good. He's much better as a bad guy. He's fantastic.
I guess he knows some. I guess he knows some of those guys.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I feel like he knew them all.
He's been around a long time. He started really young. He's only 32 years old.
Right.
He's a star. The first
time
I
saw
you
got to
was in
remember now,
NXT.
AEW has a lot of WWE guys now.
Yes.
There's a lot of them.
Oh yeah.
Even the Big Show wrestled on Sunday.
It's a big show.
And apparently he's crushed the other guy. But he's not going to wrestle that much, though.
Oh, I hope not. No, they need to keep him out of the ring.
I can't believe how much time Sting has wrestled. But the guy's pretty good for his old age.
Oh, you don't mind him coming back? He's 60 years old. I thought, what happened to your ageism?
How come he's so good, though?
You see,
I don't understand that.
Well, he keeps himself in shape, and
well, maybe they only put him in situations where he looks good.
Well, yes, of course, because you can control it.
But
yes.
he don't really wrestle much, right? He just kind of does a little wrestling. I don't think he's going to do. I don't think he's going to be on every week, right?
I doubt it. I don't know.
Yeah, I was reading this article. I posted it on the Facebook that the Hulk Hogan is not looking too good these days.
Oh, really?
I don't know if you saw that post. You can't see everything I post, obviously, but
I don't see everything you post.
It was like a 5-minute interview with somebody, and the guy that wrote the article said, "Boy, Hogan's not walking around too good because of all those leg drops."
Well,
talking about.
That doesn't surprise me. Hulk Hogan has had many. I think it's in the double digits the number of back surgeries that he's had, and I've seen him.
I know. Tiger Woods has had a lot of back surgery, but I think Hogan has had more.
Oh, definitely. And I've seen Hogan say in multiple interviews his biggest regret from his career is choosing the leg drop to be his finishing move, because constantly falling like that. The guy that did this article
said he has a hard time just walking around. Who knows? He was like a walker like I do.
No, it wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, because he says they want one more match, but nobody's going to let him do that.
Would you use the leg drop for a finishing move if you were a wrestler, Eazy-G, or would you be concerned about your back? Spinal compression.
Nobody's going to let Hogan get in the ring again.
No, of course not. No, absolutely not.
Nope. It's like Triple H and Shawn Michaels. They're all done now. They wrestled a while back in overseas there in Saudi Arabia, and that didn't work out very well. They got hurt.
I watched that match, and I didn't even finish it. I couldn't even get through the match. It was so hard to watch.
Yeah, it was Undertaker and I forget, maybe it was Kane or something. It was Kane, I think.
It was the Undertaker and Kane versus Triple H and Shawn Michaels, and I shut it off halfway through. I was like, I can't even watch this. This is
heard
brutal.
After they wrestled that match, they both got hurt.
Yeah,
their day is done.
Yeah,
Shawn Michaels is good behind the scenes. I heard he's helping out NXT, and so. Mm-hmm. So is Triple H. But it tells me, like, I have to agree with you. All these guys they're getting rid of, it seems like they're setting up for a sale. I mean, they got rid of so many people as far as even behind-the-scenes people.
Yeah, I think eventually Nick Khan, who is...
And they're going to get rid of more NXT guys.
Yeah.
It's not like they don't have money to pay these guys. They have plenty of money.
Yeah, I don't think that company even carries any debt. That's why they're not going anywhere. They're in a
Oh, I'm not
very
saying they're going anywhere, but
yeah.
they have money to pay these wrestlers, but apparently they don't want to pay them. So
Yeah.
I mean, AEW, are they paying their wrestlers good money?
I assume. Well, if you remember, Eric, when AEW started, when they announced their television deals, WWE panicked and started signing everybody they possibly could just to keep them from going to AEW. And I think now they're regretting that. And Nick Khan came in and Vince gave him the ball as CEO. And Khan said, no relation to Tony Khan of AEW. And Khan said, no,
Right.
we're not going to do business this way. We're going to get rid of all, if they're going to go to AEW, whatever. We can't be paying people to sit on their couch at home and wait for them to call them up and say, hey, come and do a TV taping or something. That's absurd. Oh, we have a question for you, Eric, in the chat room. Peter White, Peter White, host of the morning show with Peter White.
Yeah, I've heard of that guy.
So you can hear weekdays, 7 to 9 a.m. He says, what do you watch more of, Eric, wrestling or porn?
Wrestling, definitely.
That's
Well, probably even less now because I watch too much of it on the YouTube. But
porn.
I even watched too many items today, so I shut myself off at like 8 o'clock.
They don't allow porn on YouTube. How dare you?
I only limit myself to so many items on the social media and YouTube, and after a while, Disney Plus, and I just say it's enough for the day, and I just forget about it.
They have porn
'Cause I don't
on
get
Disney
any updates
Plus?
on my phone anymore. I never told you I shut everything off.
Oh,
I don't get any Facebook updates. I don't get any news updates because everybody's talking about 9/11, but of course I'm not going to talk about that because they talked about it too much on the morning show. So there you go.
Uh-huh.
I don't get updates on 9/11. I don't get updates on COVID. It's just like you said the other day, ignorance is bliss.
Well, if you can afford ignorance, yes. I mean, doing this program, I have to be
right, but I was watching way
in.
too much news. That's why I got rid of cable, and obviously I ended up at Cyber Center because I had a mental health breakdown. It was too much news information in your head is not good for your sleep patterns.
Ryan Gorman is asking what kind of porn do you watch, but I think that's probably a discussion for Matt Connarton Unsheathed.
Right,
Perhaps
I'm going to have to let you go because this talk is getting just a little too hot and heavy.
A little
so
too
you guys
hot
have
and
a
heavy.
great show. I'll see you on Thursday.
All right, bye-bye, Eric. All right, that was Eazy-G, Eric Agnon, our intrepid entertainment reporter. He will be here on Thursday to do his entertainment report, but he had to go. All that talk in the chat room. I think, what I think was probably happening is he was blushing a little bit, but we do want him to maintain a healthy prostate, of course. So we're just looking out for him. But that opens up the line for you, 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007. You can also text me at 617-917-4476. Tweet me at Matt Connarton or send an email to matt@mattconnerton.com. So I'll finish just quickly, though, my story about the Juggalos and how I was wrong to judge them. I was talking before Eazy-G's call about when I worked at the Strawberries up in Guilford in the Laconia area. A lot of Juggalos would come in, and I found them just annoying and just awful people to be around. But that was wrong of me. That was wrong of me, and I shouldn't judge people that way. And not too long after that store eventually closed and everyone moved on. But I was playing in a quasi band. It was more of a collective of musicians called Project Hybrid. Now, I've been in a bunch of different bands. I've been in a couple metal bands, more of a hard rock band. I was in Chemical Distance, which is like this weird fusion of almost like hip hop and industrial. But Project Hybrid was not like an official band, but it was this loose collective of musicians who would get together and play. And, we would play shows, and I'm a bass player, so sometimes I would play bass. And the music was mostly improvised, but the band was fronted by, and these were the only constants in the band, Orion, who was a rapper, and Danny Dragon, who was a singer. And so we would play these shows like in the Boston area. And but because of just the connections that people associated with Project Hybrid had, we seemed to draw a lot of Juggalos. We didn't sound anything like Insane Clown Posse or anything like that, but that seemed to be a bit of the crowd that we would draw. And they were very complimentary to me, you know, like they'd come up to me and be like, hey, man, I really enjoyed your bass playing during the show. And it's hard to be mad at someone or annoyed by someone when they're giving you compliments. So then I learned to love the Juggalos because apparently they loved me. Who knew? Anyway, that's my story. So, but the point is, don't judge a book by its cover, you know, or whatever other cliche you want to use. Don't prejudge. That's wrong. Just be open to people, you know, unless they're COVID deniers or some nonsense like that. Then, of course, they deserve all the ridicule and scorn that we can heap upon them. Let's see. I do want to say hello to everybody in the Facebook Live chat. Let me give the numbers again, though. 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007. If you'd like to call, don't forget, if you're just joining us, coming up in the second hour, we'll be joined in studio by Mike Sudderth for his weekly Tweakonomics segment. Ryan Gorman is in the chat room. Hello, Ryan, flashing the peace sign. Hello. Ryan, of course, has been very successful out in, speaking of New York City, Crazy Joe is there, but there's also good people there. Ryan Gorman has been spending a lot of time in New York doing his art, and it's been going, I've been following the Facebook posts, and it looks like it's been very successful for him. So very proud of him. Jenny is also in the chat room and says, shalom, peeps. Let's see, we have a call. We'll grab this. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
Hey, I got a question there. I know that Crazy Joe listens to your show a lot.
Is this about porn?
He's trying to be successful on YouTube. I got a question for you.
Yes.
And maybe you can explain this to me. I've watched way too many of this because you can make a lot of money on YouTube if you're successful, right?
Yes.
So anyways, I've been watching way too many of these videos. Catholic mom on YouTube. She has like 4 kids. She lives in this fabulous house.
Only 4? And she's
she
Catholic?
always tells everybody the other day, oh, funny, I just listen for enjoyment because it's so crazy.
Mm-hmm.
She says, well, in order to save money, she has all these tips about everything. And she says, I don't give my 4 kids any juice for the week, only water. And she just goes on and on. But you see this fabulous house. So she must just make tons of money, just throws it in the bank. And she does spend money on clothes and stuff. And she goes to these expensive like Costco and gets all this nice food. But yet she won't give her kids juice.
Well, yeah.
Can you explain that to me?
Well, perhaps she feels that there's too much sugar in the juice.
I don't know, but you should see this lady's house.
Right.
People would tell me the stories about those.
I know what it is.
The gospel there, and they have like these $4 million houses.
Here's what it is.
A hypocrite.
No. I know what it is, Eric. All right, here's the deal. She's got the beautiful house. She doesn't want to bring juice into the house. She wants to stick to water because here's what happens. You got little kids with the juice. You give them the juice. Next thing you know, they're spilling the juice and ruining this beautiful home.
This lady, it's unbelievable. She tells you how to clean the house and tells you how to do your checkbook. And, don't do anything on Sunday. It's the Lord's Day and all these rules and regulations. Tells me why I don't go to Catholic church anymore. So a friend of mine is a deacon there, and he says, we have the hardest path to the Lord because of all the rules.
Now, Melanie in the chat...
Even though he's a deacon in the Catholic church, he understands, what's going on.
They call him Deacon Blue. Now, Melanie in the chat room says juice is the gateway to the devil, so that would explain it. And Jenny says juice is bad for teeth and it's evil. See? So there you go. There's your explanation.
This house is a mansion. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
She's just...
Do you think it has a torture room?
I don't know why I watch it. Just for my own laughter, I guess. But
you think they have a gimp in the basement?
A ton of money. The kids have fabulous clothes, and they have all these fabulous rooms, and they
fabulous.
Just look at the kids are have any money issues, but you won't give them any juice.
Won't give them any juice. No juice for the children.
But hey, Crazy Joe, whatever gets that together, he can make a lot of money on YouTube.
Now, have you ever considered this, though, Eazy-G? And I want you to really think about this.
Not that I care what goes on Crazy Joe, but I know he listens to the show.
Right, but I want you to think about this, Eazy-G. What do we know about these children? These children, they might behave horribly. They probably don't deserve any juice.
Well, they always behave pretty good on the YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
Then
they do.
You can make that YouTube look anything you want for the listeners.
That's my point. When the YouTube isn't on, they're probably running around raising Cain.
That's what I'm thinking, because it shows everybody how to clean the house, how to do a budget.
Yep.
All these rules and.
But
Of course,
But
I broke all the rules years ago, but we don't get into that right now.
you
But
did.
the lady, I think,
Did you have juice?
is like those people that praise the Lord and they tell you to buy all these food buckets, and I think they're just a bunch of hypocrites, all of them.
You know what though? I don't know if this is true or not, but I heard those food buckets don't have any juice in them.
Yeah, well, like you said, when the world comes to an end, there'll be cockroaches and Crazy Joe. But I hope he has his food buckets.
I'm sure Crazy Joe has his food buckets. He seems like the type who would. They're probably stashed in a corner in his studio right next to the reel-to-reel tape recorder.
I like to see a video of her doing the, God, this is how much money I make. And I don't know if that's really a good idea in the house of the Lord. I mean, it's not bad to be rich, obviously, but
well,
you see this lady, I mean, I'll leave you with this. A friend of mine, he only worked I'm not going to say the place, part-time at his job, and his wife had a good job. But I saw this guy's house years ago. It was like a mansion.
Yeah.
So it just tells me he had plenty of money. I was saying, having plenty of money is not a sin or anything, but I was just shocked. And he worked part-time at a job that he could have such a fabulous house.
I believe it does say in the Bible, and I know that, a lot of folks reject this because a lot of Christians practice what I call ironic Christianity, which is they just basically ignore everything. But it does say in the Bible, isn't there something about it is easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than a rich man to enter heaven?
Yes, wow, very good, Matt. Wow, that's right.
Yeah, well,
Well, I just find this video humorous. I've limited myself just to only 1 or 2 videos a day because I used to watch way too much before I figured out that I need to stay off the phone all day.
Jenny says, dude,
these ladies like hundreds of videos. It never end.
Hundreds of videos.
So she must be making a ton of money. I mean, making money obviously is not a sin or not, but I think it was the craziest thing that she won't give her kids water. I mean, well, juice,
I don't think they deserve juice. You know what? I think those kids are probably the devil's children.
But the videos, it makes them look like they're perfect saints, but I know that's
course.
not 100% God's truth.
Right. For all we know, when those cameras are off, they're out there committing murders and pillaging.
Oh, yeah. Can you believe, Matt, if you and Jenny had 4 kids running around?
I can't imagine having 1 kid running around. I mean, we have Christian, but he's fully grown.
Nothing wrong with saying kids are good and make a wholesome family and stuff like that. I agree with that, but
yeah. Hey, can I let you in on a little secret though, Eazy-G?
Right.
Jenny and I, we don't allow Christian to have any juice.
Oh boy, well, he's old enough. He can buy his own. All right, I'll let you go. Enough of my foolishness.
All right, Eric. Thanks for the call. All right, Eazy-G leaves us. That opens up a line for you, 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007. Let's see. Dirk Don, I mentioned, is in the chat room of Arrogant Media. Stacey Lawton joins us in the chat. Hello. Melanie La Liberty from the great state of Vermont says, why are you prone to break out in song today, Matt? Did you run over a squirrel on the way into the station or something? Not today. No. I have run over squirrels, not intentionally, of course, and I always feel terrible about it. But why would that make me break out into a song? I feel like I'm missing something there. Rocky Huber, I mentioned. Ryan Gorman. Christian Lacoste is in the chat room. Hello, Christian. Christian says, in 5 years, AEW will be huge. Mike Sudderth just let me know he's running a little bit behind, but he will be here. He just messaged me. No worries. I just gave him a thumbs up. Tom Blanchard says, you mean wrestling is real? Oh, absolutely. Of course. Yes. Mike Sudderth says, thanks. Just want to make sure we don't miss anybody in here. Mike Palapita joins us in the chat. Mike, of course, is from another one of our wonderful sponsors here at WMNH 95.3, Queen City Cabinetry in the historic Sunbeam Mall. Let's see. Tom Blanchard says, that guy sure can talk. I assume he's referring to, I'm laughing about something in the chat, referring to Eazy-G, something else in the chat. I'm going to leave some of that alone. Melanie says, you start with juice, and next thing you know, you are sacrificing animals to the Dark Lord. Right. See, that's the thing. And that's why, like I said, Jenny and I don't allow Christian to have juice. We don't want sacrificing animals to the Dark Lord. We have two wonderful, beautiful cats who we love very much. And, you know, I don't even know about this whole Dark Lord thing. I mean, I don't particularly support him. I don't know much about his politics. You know, I'd need to know at least his position on farm subsidies. So we avoid that. Mike Pelopita says, look what it did to the high C pitcher crashing through walls for no reason, etc. That's true. Yeah, the high C, and he bursts through the wall and he goes, oh, yeah, or something like that, and just makes a big mess. I think that Catholic woman is smart not to have the juice. Jenny says, tore up clothes, too. See, juice drinkers don't take care of their things. That's really quite true. Jenny says juice is Satan's wine. My goodness. Wow. Paulie C is in the Facebook live chat. Paul says, hi, Matt. On Friday night, you and Dan and I are going politically incorrect. 2.5 hours of offensive TV clips, TV commercials, and horrifying music of days gone by that would never be released today. The Cringe Fest starts at 7:30 p.m. Eastern on Retro Spectrum Radio. Yes, we look forward to that every Friday night right here from the studios of WMNH Retro Spectrum Radio from 7:30 to 10 p.m. Paulie C, Paul Cormier, he takes over the captain's chair, and I move over to the news desk, and we have Dan on the couch, and sometimes we have DJ Steve in the corner with the giant cardboard Peter Whitehead, and this will be very interesting, and you know, a little dangerous, I think, but we like the danger. Politically incorrect, boy, I'll tell you what, I'll be very interested to see what Paul comes up with. There's certainly no shortage of prospective material. Melanie is asking Paul if there will be juice. Oh boy, I don't know. I don't know if I can say if there's juice. That's going to be a problem. Paulie C says no juice, plenty of Kool-Aid though. Oh my. Kyle Clayton says, I tried to call, but I'll wrestle Joe in the alley. You want to wrestle Crazy Joe? My goodness. Well, all right. Melanie says, him assuming the Dark Lord is male is sexist. That is true. So we wouldn't say Lordess, or is that, or do we just say Lord? Like the thing with actor or actress, like you're not supposed to say actress anymore. Everyone's an actor. I don't know. It's hard to keep up with it all. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
Hey, Matt. This is Ron and Paulie C. If you got your ears on, and fortunately, I don't hear you very well. I'm not quite sure why. Sometimes it comes and goes, but you can hear me. Okay. I just wanted to say, because it's not related to what's going on, although you still got a good show happening. Friday night, I finally got in touch with, what was that name of that pizza? Began with an A, Alley Cat.
Yes.
And I got an order in. I got it in plenty of time. But since there's no work, I mean, there's no workers, and they were running slow and way behind, and they only had one delivery guy. After an hour, it was about 9:45 or something, and I called, and the guy said, no, we didn't even put it in yet. I said, all right, I'm going to have to cancel, please. I said, I'll try again another time. But I wanted to just send over a piece of you guys to say hello. I like your show. I like what you guys do, and just say thank you for good radio. But, yeah, I had to cancel. It didn't happen, so I tried.
I understand. Veronette brought a pizza once, and that's where she got it, from Alley Cat. Yeah, very good pizza. But, yeah, restaurants especially, it seems, are really struggling to find enough help right now, you know, to the point that some of them are now closed on Mondays right around here because it's the only way to get give their employees a day off. Because otherwise everybody's working all the time. It's quite remarkable, Ron.
Yeah, a lot's going on. It's such a trickle effect, but it's real. I mean, you go shopping in the grocery aisles, and you see things that used to be full, like a bread aisle, and all of a sudden there's hollow spots, and you know, it's a trickle effect. It's real and it's out there, and even the automotive business, you know, they don't have the cars in stock because they don't have the chips, so they don't have this, and just all around. So it's crazy, you know.
I'm confident that it will all shake out. and I think economists are generally pretty optimistic, at least about that this will all normalize. But it's going to take a little time. Yeah. The labor shortage, I think it was last week I was talking about how a big factor that a lot of people don't realize is, because people say, oh, people just don't want to work and whatnot. No, it's a lot of people left the workforce when they took early retirement when the pandemic hit. People who had the option to do that, who were going to hang in there, decided, no, I think I'll get out of the workforce now. And I don't think people realize just how much of an impact that's had. But there's a positive. There's an upside to it, too. A lot of these, and the national chains, they can certainly afford to do it. A lot of places are now paying more money. So there's that. Wages are going up. So, we'll see.
Well, hopefully that's the incentive and what it takes.
Yeah.
And then hopefully the employers can bear the burden. So that's another thing, too,
Right. You know what I think should happen, Ron? I think because I feel like they're just delaying the inevitable. I think all fast food restaurants in the country should just say, screw it, close their dining rooms, just do drive-through only, and just be done with it. Because that's where it's all headed anyway. Why not just do that? And it'll simplify things for them, I think.
Well. I hope that never happens.
I mean, that's the whole reason why. You ever notice, Ron, you go into like a McDonald's or a Dairy Queen or something, if you go in and you sit in a booth, how uncomfortable it is? That's done intentionally. They intentionally make the booths you sit in uncomfortable so that you don't want to stay, so that you'll hurry up and eat your meal and get out of there. So why the pretense? You don't want that to happen? You want to go in and sit down at the Burger King?
Yeah, because I like to just, it's part of the, it's part of the relaxing kind of thing. You're treating yourself, and you get a chance to unwind and slow down. I mean, and then I don't drink anymore, but how are you going to get alcohol, for the people that like to have a glass of wine, have to have a cold beer or whatever,
Yeah. Well, I'm talking, just to be clear, though, I'm talking specifically about fast food like Burger King, McDonald's, Wendy's. And because the thing is, right now, a lot of these places aren't even opening their dining rooms to begin with, or not on a consistent basis. Dunkin' Donuts, another example. A lot of them aren't because they don't have enough help to keep the dining room open, so they're only running the drive-thrus. So I say, just get rid of the dining rooms. Just be done with it. That's my opinion. But
all right, guys, I'm gonna sign off. But I just wanted to say hi, Paulie, and hi, Matt too, obviously. But I tried to send you guys over something. It didn't work out, and thank you for what you guys do. I like your show.
All right, Ron. Thank you so much for the call, my friend. Always nice to hear from you.
Thank you.
All right, you got it. Bye-bye. All right, that was our friend Ron. That does open up a line for you, 603-250-6007. Melanie's leaving already. She says, have a good night, everyone. Melanie in the chat room. Melanie, are you bothered by my, did I upset you with my idea that the fast food restaurants should just, give up on the dining rooms? No, I'm sure she just has other things to do. There are other things worth doing, I guess, other than listening to my show. I mean, probably not many, but I guess there are other things in life. But that does open up a phone line for you, 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007. Kyle Clayton, who, by the way, of course, you can hear on the morning show, Peter White's co-host, weekdays, 7 to 9 a.m., right here from WMNH, with a replay from 2 to 4 p.m. right before this program. Kyle says, I'll wrestle anyone for the integrity of WMNH. Well, I think that's wonderful, Kyle. My only suggestion would be make sure they're vaccinated. Charles Richardson from Florida, and of course the Charles Richardson Show, joins us in the chat. Says, hey everyone, good afternoon. Hello, Charles. Charles says, lazy people are winning. Milk the unemployment and stimulus benefits and force wages to go up, which causes everything else to go up. Well, Charles, I disagree. I think that, well, my thoughts on it are a bit nuanced. First of all, I think that's reductive. I don't think that's really what's happening. I know that's the spin that a lot of right-wing media is putting out there, you know, that people don't want to work, people are staying home and milking the system. But they say that anyway, even not during the pandemic. Conservatives will demonize poor people and anyone on any kind of public assistance, even though we pay for that with our taxes, et cetera. And I think that they're using this opportunity to really ratchet that up. Now, I would say, Charles, right now, as with any time, of course you're going to have bad apples. You're going to have people who figure out a way to game the system and to milk the system in some way. You're always going to have that. We always have and we always will. But I really think that's a very, very small minority of people who do that. I don't think most people do that, because what you get from the government typically isn't enough to manage to do that. I also think that there's a lot of other factors that are happening right now with the pandemic that have been so unique. Like I said to Ron, a lot of people left the workforce and didn't come back. A lot of people retired early. And if you're an older person at retirement age and you're looking at your options and then a pandemic hits, of course you want to get out. I also think, though, this is such a unique situation with the pandemic where, and I think it was last week we got into this somewhat on the show. We might have even talked about it when Mike Sudderth was here, about how, a lot of people are in a bad spot where, maybe they want to go back to work, but they have children at home with them and daycares are closed because of the pandemic. So they can't bring their kids to daycare and they can't bring their kids to work. So they're staying home to take care of the kids. And, there's a lot of different factors. A lot of people are waiting, for whatever it is that they do to fully open back up and bring them back, people who've been furloughed. I think there's a lot of different factors. Now, don't get me wrong. There are lazy people. In fact, I'm very cynical in this regard. I think that lazy people largely outnumber motivated, driven, and ambitious people quite a bit. Unfortunately, I think we have a culture that is very lazy. But I do think there's other factors than that contribute to what you're saying, Charles. But we have a call. Oh, nobody there. Okay. And for some reason, my cell phone shows that Kyle Clayton is calling me, and I'm not sure why. Kyle, you're calling me while on my cell phone while I'm on the air. Perhaps you, I don't know, maybe you pocket dialed me. Charles says, and why is the labor force so low? Yeah, well, like I said, I think there's a lot of different factors, but I think most economists would dispute the notion that everyone is just milking the system, especially since I think the federal supplement, that $300 supplement, that's over, right? And individual states have ended. I know here, I don't know what the situation is in Florida. I would imagine DeSantis wants to pretend that there is no pandemic. So I would imagine there's no supplemental state unemployment insurance in Florida. I could be wrong. I know they ended it here. So most of that, if not all of that, is going away or has gone away anyway. So I do think there's a lot of other factors, but it's complicated. Again, Charles, I'm not saying that what you're saying isn't a part of it, but I suspect it's only a small part of it. Let's see. Stacey Lawton says in the chat, personally, I haven't done anything to milk the system. I've been on the same Social Security since the beginning of the pandemic, and I started a job, but for medical reasons I had to leave, but I'm not on any state assistance and no community action whatsoever. I personally don't like to be on benefits if I can help it, especially being a state representative. I don't want to be collecting from the same government that I'm serving. Yeah, and I think, like I said, I don't think most people want to be on government assistance. Scott Robinson in the chat says, Matt, I'm not going to lie. In the Unleashed replay yesterday, This was, I should clarify for people. So yesterday, because it was a holiday, we were not here live. So one of our best of editions aired. And yesterday, I believe it was the best arguments in the history of the show. Let's see. So just to clarify, this is what Scott is referring to. So Scott says, Matt, I'm not going to lie. In the Unleashed replay yesterday, the confrontation between Jenny and John Hopwood made me very uneasy. I felt a lot of hate in that rebroadcast. Well, Scott, how do you think I felt? I was here. I'm kidding. No hate. Everyone, it's all love. But they did get into a very spirited, to say the least, discussion, which is why that particular segment ended up in the Best Arguments edition of the Best of Matt Connarton Unleashed. So there you go. All right, we are going to... Yeah, it's top of the hour. It's about the top of the hour. Let's, Jenny says never. No hate here. And we love John Hopwood. And by the way, of course, as I like to remind people, whatever ball breaking is done here on the show, it's all done with love, and except when it comes to Crazy Joe. Well, hell with that guy. But other than that, it's all done with love. Let's take a break, and then we will be back. Oh, Jenny's asking which one. Yeah, it was the... Jenny, you and John Hopwood got in an argument over the Second Amendment and laws. I don't remember all the particulars of it, but it had something to do with the Nazis and Hitler taking guns away, and how that was kind of used as the blueprint for some gun control. Again, I only remember bits and pieces of it. I don't remember in detail, but. Stacy says, Jenny is a really nice person, though at times I have disagreed with her personally. I think she is very smart and informed, and I appreciate her input. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, let's take a break. We're going to play a couple things and then show some love to our sponsors so we can pay the bills. And then when we come back in the second hour, Mike Sudderth will be arriving at some point, and we will get into our Tweakonomics segment. Always look forward to that. So I'll see you on the other side. Welcome back, everybody. Here we go. We are well in hour number 2, numero dos of Matt Connarton Unleashed. And we are live from the studios of WMNH 95.3 in downtown Manchester, New Hampshire. Also on Comcast 97 if you're in Manchester. Streaming at WMNHradio.org and on the Facebook on the Matt Connarton Unleashed Facebook page. And, of course, you can also go to my website, mattconnerton.com, for all of your show archives and live streaming options and social media links and contact info, etc., etc. Hello to our friends at Raw Talk Online and Tomorrow Radio. Today is Tuesday, September 7, 2021. And of course, I want to remind you, we are proudly sponsored by the Hop Knot. Don't go there today because Monday and Tuesday is their weekend, but they are open Wednesday through Sunday. Thursday nights at the Hop Knot, they have trivia hosted by the great Bill Cini. And Friday nights at the Hop Knot, they have this guy right here at the news desk. He is Mike Sudderth, but on Fridays, he walks into the phone booth and he comes out holding a guitar, and he transforms into Grant Lampton.
The Tone Man.
The Tone Man.
The Tone Man. I don't know. I was thinking of like a superhero.
Maybe the Super Tone Man.
Super
or something.
Tone, yeah.
There you go. There you go. Let me give the numbers if you'd like to enter the discussion. We're going to do our Tweakonomics segment, but give us a call if you'd like. 603-250-6007. 603-250-6007. You can also text us at 617-917. 4476. Tweet me at Matt Connarton or send an email to matt@mattconnerton.com. And, of course, you can always interact and opine in the Facebook live chat. But the best thing to do is give us a call at 603-250-6007. And what have you got for us this week there, Mr. Sudderth, sir?
You know, I can't bloom without the introduction music. So.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah,
Yes.
that gets me out of hibernation.
Here we go.
Good afternoon, Manchester. My name is Mike Sudderth, and I am the person who does the segment called Tweakonomics that the folks at WMNH 95.3 and Matt Connarton have allowed me to do here. And what I've got for you here today, we're a bit truncated. Well, I'm only 8 minutes late. I thought it was going to be a full-blown 15 minutes late, but
you're really not that late.
Yeah, but I panicked when I got home from my day job, and I'm like, oh, by the time I trim my eyebrows and shave my legs, it's going to take a long time to get here.
Well, you don't have to. Don't worry about the leg shaving. We're not going to ask you to swim.
Well, no, but I'm on camera, you guys. You got cameras here.
Summer's over.
You're right.
We already put away the pool.
Until Memorial Day, I don't have to worry about it.
That's right.
And I will not wear white sneakers.
Thank God.
So yeah, let me get some of them. So I've got a couple of little things that I peppered this stuff with. One of them is my shameless marketing plug, and I think Matt had answered probably before I entered here. He did mention the Hop Knot, but our good folks at Queen City Cabinetry and Mike over there has become a good friend of mine, at least online. A few times I've met him. Queen City Cabinetry. What's the business solutions? Remind me, please. Is it G?
Oh, CGI Business Solutions?
CGI. I didn't want to say GNC because that's not the right thing.
Right.
CGI Business Solutions over on Dartmouth Drive in Auburn, New Hampshire, who's a heck of a good sponsor here. And the new internet firm that Peter White brought in for you guys. That name escapes me, too.
Adored Wi-Fi.
Adored Wi-Fi.
Yes.
Yeah. How does the CEO of that company's wife feel about that? Of course, maybe... She's the CEO, and
could be. That very well may be the case. Yes.
All right, I will stop jesting here. My shameless marketing plug that I try to mention local companies here in Manchester who might get interested in sponsoring WMNH, which is a public station. But I thought it was a cool thing as a guy who has an undergrad in marketing to kind of mention these local places. So here we go. Today's SMP is Bert's Better Beers. Have you all heard of them? Do you drink beer? I can guarantee you, that didn't come out right, that if you've been over to the Hop Knot and you find something and you like it, you go to Hannaford's, you can't find it. You go to the S&M Market, you can't find it. If you go to Bert's Better Beers, or better yet, give them a call first. They have an amazing selection of beers. I was over at... an establishment over on Market Street, which we may mention some other time, but I had a very specific beer, and I can't find it. I couldn't find it. I looked it up online, and I had a friend say, go to Bert's Better Beers. The one location I go to is over on 545 Hooksett Road here. It's Daniel Webster Highway. They have a killer staff, and they're like, what do you like? What don't you like? And they kind of help you. But if you go in knowing what you want, they will probably have it. And so I wanted to plug those guys. They used to be way up on Hooksett Road in Hooksett. And as they've grown, they've got a location, like I said, over on Daniel Webster Highway that I go to. I think they have another location or two. But those guys have been really, really good to me, and they're really relaxed. And, the whole, I think you may have heard the term beer snob.
I have, yes.
Like, oh, you're drinking session ale, and I drink double IPAs. And specific things get like that, like cars or sports or whatever.
Music.
Yeah, exactly.
As a Kiss fan, I know something about that.
Exactly. Oh, you like Kiss?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, with the makeup, not without the makeup. Or I love them anyway. And so these guys have a real. The last time I went in there to get it, I got a third tier, which is a brewery, coconut truffle nitro stout, which I tasted over at this place on Market Street, the bar over there. And when I tasted it, I'm like, it has to go over vanilla ice cream. And I'm not a stout guy whatsoever.
Yeah.
But when I tasted it, just like the light bulb went off, like I want to make a float out of this stuff. I'm going to get some vanilla ice cream, and I'm going to put this stout in it. And anyway, these guys were like, oh, you think it's this brewery. It's actually this brewery. And they set me up. So I would encourage you guys to go visit Bert's Better Beers the next time you go to La Coretta and have one or two with your partner.
They I don't know if they still do them. They used to do live events there. I did I think a couple of them with well, you know, I used to be in a band with Michael Apley Pierce from Litherman's. But we were in a band together, Chemical Distance, and we did something at Burt's.
Wait, Michael, who runs Litherman's? That
Yeah,
guy?
yeah.
Who I met over here at the Hop Knot.
Yeah, we used to be in a band together called Chemical Distance.
Okay, I'm going to name drop you here to get myself up there to his brewery.
Yes, there you go. There you go. But yeah. And but yeah, we did something at Burt's.
The old one up in Hooksett?
I think so. It was a long time ago.
Yeah.
I mean, this was like a decade ago at least. Jeez, might have been longer.
These guys are in, I don't think it's called the North Side Plaza. I forget the name, but La Coretta's in there, and
Yeah.
the Dollar Tree, and it's been there for ages. And they've moved in there, and they've got it all set up darn proper, and you know where the sours are and the IPAs are, and they even have branched out to the seltzer crowd, if I can say that.
Oh, the seltzer crowd.
It's a thing, Matt. The seltzer thing is a
really?
thing. Yeah, it is, dude.
Oh, okay.
I know you and I grew up going to keg parties, but now they like go to seltzer things, I guess.
Yeah, I didn't go to any keg parties growing up.
You didn't?
I was an introvert.
Well, let me enlighten you. Of course, my parents are dead and gone. I'm like, we won't get in trouble with my parents.
No, I went to a few. That was about, but not many.
Yeah, well, in the end, it was really not a developmentally good experience, but fun war stories. All right, let's rip right into it here. So in the time we have left, which is darn near the whole show, 3/4 of it anyway.
Wow, you are bad at math.
Why? What did I say?
3/4?
Well, 15 minus it's quarter past, right? We've got 45 minutes left. Is that a quarter? I am bad about the time.
Of the show?
Yeah. Well, of my, I always assume it's an hour. Forgive me. So,
I'm just busting balls.
and you did good.
I like the idea that someone's worse at math than me.
Yes. So here I go as your economics expert, ladies and gentlemen. Which statistics is very different than basic math, and that's how I arrived at economics. I got to tell you, I didn't understand mathematics at all until I got into statistics. That in 10 years you need $5,000. How much do you have to put away to get there? That's what turned on math to me. I didn't get the X's, Y's, and Z's, and I didn't know it was empty spaces. And
Yeah.
there's a whole other conversation. But when I took statistics, it was just basically algebra. You do it backwards, and they explain it to you how it happens, and it was a real good thing. So I am semi-educated in this arena. Just yes, I'm bad at math, and I lose my car keys and stuff.
But when it has a practical application, that's what got you interested.
Yeah, like a mortgage, like
Right.
I have a 15, I refinanced to a 15-year mortgage. Like all that mathematics makes beautiful sense to me, and I like it. But it was in college that when somebody finally said, okay, if you need $10,000 in 5 years, what do we have to do here? And that my brain lit up.
Yeah.
The X's and the Y's and the plateaus and the long division, all that was Greek to me,
I can relate.
So people learn differently,
Oh, yeah.
So let's go forward here. My main topic here today is going to be the working from home thing and going back to work. I will try to avoid the politics, as always, of COVID and why this happened, but you're certainly welcome to call in at 250-6007 and give me a hard time or encourage me either way. But I did some looking on a platform called Muse Online, which is a career platform. And they have a female editor that puts some really interesting stuff out there. Like, as my career has changed twice or three times through my lifetime and will continue to evolve. And now that my children are grown and they're starting to go in the career direction, it's very interesting. My career path is very personal, and what I did is probably can't be recreated. But you might be able to say that about Bill Gates and President whoever or whatever. Every person's journey is different. But in the career platform here, I was reading this thing on Muse Online, and Catherine Minshew is her name. She wrote this article that in a broad survey of people like Gen Zs, like young employees, all the way up to boomers, 37% of the people that she surveyed do not want to go back to work. Like they want to work,
Right.
but they want to get paid at home. And now the performance metrics on that is different for every job,
Yeah.
In some jobs, you still work from home, maybe you work harder in some cases. and 22% actually want to get back in for the social interaction. Managers like my wife, Julie, who manages a team of people, she wanted to go back in because she knows darn well she's more effective face-to-face. Get off your phone, get off YouTube, and I need you to do this, X, Y, Z. Face-to-face works better than I don't see you logged in, and you know what I'm saying? Like, at least in her case.
That's been one of the really interesting things about this whole COVID experience is it just, I talked to a lot of different people, and some people love working from home, and it's just there's so many advantages to it, and some people are just like, no, I need to go back to the office.
It's what this woman, Catherine Minshew, said. It's such a mixed bag that there are young people who are, what we used to call ambitious. Like, I want to be mentored. I want to look at an older woman, if you're a woman or girl, and if you're a man, you want to, or vice versa. I always worked better for women, but I need that. Nobody wants to be, well, some people might want to be micromanaged. In my specific case, I didn't want to be micromanaged, but I needed to know, like, hey, Mike, go take somebody to lunch or go to lunch, but I need you back here by 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
And that worked really well for me when I was in the office. If I'm at home, like, I need you back online at 2 o'clock, I'm like, well, I kind of got to get some contact solution. And, but this is 30 years ago when I got trained in that arena. And it was really interesting. This article, again, it's on Muse Online. It's a career platform, and she's the editor of the stuff, that there are younger people who are ambitious, who want to get back into the office. And then there are older folks who are like, look, man, I don't want to go back into the office. And is that because the question is posed is, are you more effective for the business at home? Because if that's the case, we want to keep you at home. I know, and a person I know who works for a computer company, they had to earn the right to work from home. Okay. So if they're hitting sales, if they're selling servers, or it was a computer technology company, if you're selling to the level that you earn it,
right?
If you're more effective at home, by all means, man, stay at home. But I believe, or I wonder, that there's this gap of, I just plain old don't want to drive to work and like be around people and be hassled and all this. So I think it's a reduction in productivity, at least for that slice of the pie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And being an older guy, and I've got two daughters who are very, hard workers. But again, I'm over 50 and I'm cynical. So I'm like, well, folks just don't want to work, and they'd rather watch Rick and Morty than, be watched. Hey, make phone calls, or whatever you do for work. And it's interesting that, there's always some industries like the DPW here, God bless them, in Manchester. These guys didn't have the option to work from home,
Right. Well, yeah, as Tom Blanchard points out in the in the chat, some people just, some jobs can't be done from home.
That's right. Yeah, a lot. Yeah. If you're a bartender or, social services, a nurse, something like this, you can't be done from home. The arena that I grew up in is like, you kind of could. I traveled a lot for work, and you chimed in. And but I am here to tell you that when I did work from home and had those opportunities, I was far less effective to the business interest working from home. I had too much distraction. I never wanted to be micromanaged, but I wanted the assumption that somebody's kind of watching me in whatever fashion. Not, you know what I mean? Not micromanaged, because once I became an adult, like, I don't want to be micromanaged. Oh, yeah,
you don't want somebody looking over your shoulder.
I want the assumption that if I come in at 9:05 and everybody else is there, I feel bad. That's motivational. The next day I'm going to be there when everybody else is here. I think my generation, it was a functional thing. Yeah. And I'm not sure, but I'd love to hear from some other folks about this, that, younger people, do you say like, well, it's not a big deal. If it's 9:05, if it's 10 past 10, then it's the same thing. I'm at work, dude. Like, it's not a big deal. Right. Always depends on the job, but
younger people are going to tend to be more adaptable anyway, though, right? I mean, just in general in life.
They do, but in my, my finance and economics direction that I ended up kind of having somewhat of a career in, it was about production, about, what are you doing for the business? What's in it for the business? It wasn't what's in it for me with them. It was, what are you producing? And I had to sit down every quarter and, here's your review, and, what are you doing for the business? So I missed maybe the generation that is now that, well, you're more productive at home. I came from the space of, you had to earn to do that. Yeah. And now it's like, well, I'm plain old just not comfortable coming into the office.
Eric Street, who is a top fan, he says in the chat, for Comcast, we work from home and are just as productive, so now it's permanent. So I guess they sent everybody home for the pandemic and they just made it permanent. Huh?
Well, and there's probably benefits for both sides of that, the employer and the employee. You know, what they call desk help when I was a kid, you know, help support, desk help support or whatever when it started
Help
in the
desk.
2000s. Help desk, thank you. I'm dyslexic. You know, I knew guys who made a great living. It's like, I stay at home. They don't want to have to buy me a desk, you know, give me an expense report to buy me gas or buy whatever. It's cheaper for them for me to stay at home, and I answer my calls from 9 to 5. And so it's a perfect equation where it worked for both scenarios. I guess what troubles me and makes me scratch my head is the scenarios where, in my wife's case, and I don't mind mentioning her in this, that she had a team of 16 people that she needed to make sure they were there on time in the morning, make so many phone calls in the morning and the afternoon, you know, take your 1 hour lunch, which really means 59 minutes, and, you know, stay late if you want to your benefit. That paradigm, I guess is the silly word for it, or the dynamic of it. They removed that because of COVID, and that's understandable. But now we're going to the article I read is like whether the employee wants to.
Yeah.
And the employees who don't want to, I wonder if it's it's more fun working at home or trying to work from home than it is in an office setting.
I'd imagine. And for a lot of people too, you know, if you have a job and all of a sudden you're working from home and there's been no change in your pay, but now you're not spending money on gas to get to work. I mean, for people who are maybe don't have a lot of disposable income, that can make a huge difference in somebody's budget, especially if they have a long commute.
Yeah, totally agreed. I mean, I grew up when I was younger working in Boston, and I would have loved to have scratched that whole parking my car for $10 back in the 80s, and you know, taking the train from Sullivan Square to the financial district and doing that would have been great. But there was no real technological like surge back then. Now there is. So if you're blessed enough to have that job, let's take into account like the computer salesman, right, who has an account. You get on the phone and you're dealing with, let's say, Johns Hopkins University, right? So you can call them up from home. You can do that from the office. If you're as effective at home, God bless you. It's cheaper for everybody.
Yeah.
It's this space in between of developing employees that might need a kick in the rear occasionally. And I was one of those guys that, well, if I'm at home, I want a steak and cheese, you know.
Right.
I don't want to solve this this problem with a logistics problem, whatever, at work. I want a steak and cheese. And if you're given that latitude, it's like, I don't know. Do you ever work in an office, Matt, like when you're younger? Or when the super boss is away, the boss is on vacation.
Sort of. I had a job where I was occasionally in an office. Yeah. So yes.
My point is that like, you know, Sheila's gone to Cancun for the week. She's on vacation. Like, all right, that's cool. So we can take a longer lunch. You know, I don't have to worry about looking at my phone.
Oh yeah.
You know, I was just one of these guys that, and I'd like to think that some people are human nature like this. You take advantage of what's open to you.
Yeah.
And I don't think the way I grew up, it's good for business. It's not. You know, well, hey, you're basically unsupervised, right? Or
yeah.
And now I think in some instances that I've heard, it's gotten so comfortable that it used to be, you know, when I had young kids, I'm like, I'd tell my director, I have to go pick up my kids. Like something happened at the daycare, or my, you know, wife, partner, buddy can't pick them up. I have to go pick them up. But it was like an exception, you know, it's like a sick day.
Well, of course, when your kids are involved, it's hard for an employer to say no.
And again, I smell these examples of like that now it's maybe more commonplace. Like, you know, I've run out of Swiss cheese. I got to go get some more Swiss cheese.
Right.
I'll be back, you know.
Yeah.
I understand this is important, but this is a different thing than like, look, my kid got hurt at school or is sick and I got to go pick him up. It's more like, I really can't attend the meeting. I've got to go get my car detailed or something.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm being sarcastic, but.
We have a call. We'll grab this. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
Hey, Matt, this is Ron.
Hey, Ron.
I was just listening in on your show, and you know what gets me, right? I mean, I be honest with you, I guess I'm guilty of it too. But now, you know, now that things are different, I see the difference. But people forget, or they tend to not realize how time is money. And, they think a few minutes here, a few minutes there. But if you're the guy that's paying the bill and paying the overhead and the insurance and the things that matter, and, at the end of the year, they have to clear so much, and all this lost time adds up quick. I mean, if you have a lot of employees, lost time adds up quick.
Yeah, it's productivity, right? I mean, you want the max for your employees' effort, and that's why you're paying them to begin with. And work ethic, it seemed to me, at least in the job that I did growing up, meant an awful lot, and now it seems like, well, the employer is kind of grabbing at it,
And another thing that used to drive me nuts, and luckily that stopped. I've never been a smoker, but I used to work at a factory. It used to be Lucent, and there were so many people that thought that was their inherent right. And every day that just before lunch or just before break, they'd go out and burn one. That was, got to do it. And then after, I'm not anti-smoking, but I'm telling you, when I talk about lost time, lost money, and this and that, and they had to go burn one, and then it's like, oh, it's almost lunchtime, so I'll take a run to the bathroom and I'll wash up and get ready, and then after lunch, what's 5 minutes if I'm a couple seconds late before I get back to my bench,
I've seen that scenario where, smokers will take advantage. By the way, I'm a hypnotherapist if anyone needs to quit smoking, but I've been in jobs where I've seen that because and I think there's sort of this unspoken understanding that, well, if I'm a smoker, you have to give me this extra privilege because otherwise I'm going to be in a very bad mood if I don't get my cigarettes. So
he's not as productive, or she's not as productive.
Right. So it's just kind of better for all of us if you just let me go do this. It's a completely unspoken thing.
It is
that I think it's this sort of this unspoken social contract between non-smokers and smokers that we non-smokers were like, yeah, do what you got to do. We'll deal with it because we want you to be in a good mood.
Right. You're a pain in the neck otherwise when you come back in.
Yeah, exactly. And it shows up that shows up in the workplace constantly. Absolutely, Ron. That's a great insight.
That was my pet peeve. That's all.
I appreciate the
call,
man.
Much more than
really
that, but my thought was, because I was an electrician before I retired, and I know for a fact that time is money. You can, if you're trying to get so much done, and it's such a certain amount of time, and you don't get it done because of, you maybe you were a little lax, then that means you got to jump in your van again on another day and drive back to the job site to finish up what you could have finished if you weren't wasting time.
Excellent economic point, my friend. Excellent economic point that, time is money. And, I used to live in a world where we'd travel, and travel was glamorous when I was a younger guy. But, to be on the clock for traveling, I'm not producing for the business. It's not to the business's benefit. They're paying for my hotel and the plane flight. Like, unless I go to where my destination is and I benefit the business to a noticeable effect, I'm just hanging out in BWI having fun or frustrated. So time is money. Excellent point, my friend. I appreciate the call.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you, Ron.
All right, guys.
All right, my friend. Take care. Bye-bye.
Cheers.
Bye.
Ron leaves us. That opens up a line for you, 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007. Rob Dion just joined us in the Facebook live chat. Rob, of course, does the trivia on the morning. I'm not trivia. I'm sorry. I'm getting things mixed up here. Ron does the entertainment report on the morning show on Thursday mornings and brings in his keyboard and does Name That Tune. And he's the host of his own show, Through the Stage Door, which airs on Sundays here at WMNH. You made a comment earlier that I wanted to ask you to expand on. You said you work better with a female boss.
I do, and let's be careful about that, but I'm very forward with that. Yeah, I think it's, and this may be a whole nother show, it's a respect issue. I always kind of, I grew up in like a whole family. My parents weren't divorced, and so I had a mom and dad, and I mean, if you don't, that's neither here nor there, but I grew up, kind of my assumption was I should have a parent respect for the opposite sex. This whole sexual harassment thing in the workplace, I got it. I was an HR guy and I processed it, but the last thing I would ever do is make it difficult for another employee. My point being is that I found it easier emotionally, it was easier for me to go and talk about my daughter has a problem.
Oh, interesting.
Go.
Yeah.
Daycare is about to close. I've got to go. Go ahead, please.
That makes sense. Yeah. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
Hey, Matt, guess who this is? Your father.
Hey.
You remember me?
I do remember you. Yes.
Your father.
Oh, God, we had some good memories. We went through some challenges, but we had some good memories.
Yes.
I'll be very brief. On a positive note, I just want to say congratulations to you and Jenny and all the people who come on your show. You just do a great job. Charles Richardson. Let's see, who else? Brad Pitt. I think Brad Pitt was on once. All right, I'm going a little too far there. But,
Gene Simmons.
I got some of my colleagues listening now who weren't listening before.
Oh, excellent.
And they really love your professionalism, your sense of humor.
Oh, thank you.
Nobody today, and this has been true, Matt, since Aristotle's time, and before. We don't agree on all things, but we agree that social, democratic issues, personal issues, in terms of persons, are very important. That's one of the reasons I got into clinical social work back in the Lincoln administration. Do you remember that administration, man?
Not quite. Little before my time.
Wow. He almost lost that. Lincoln almost lost that 1864 election to that knucklehead that compromised on McClellan. But that's another story. I voted for Lincoln twice. Don't call the State Department.
Right.
They're incompetent enough. I don't want to fool around with me, man. I'm telling you right now.
Sure.
But again, I just wanted to say that I won't mention the nature of the petition, but we're going to merge, I think, with there's a group called American Capitalism Incorporated, and they're big into democracy and free markets, but they're also concerned with the issue that I'm very concerned with and heated about right now. And from an inside source, I just want to tell your audience, I can't reveal who the source is right now. Unfortunately, I will eventually. But there are now documented over not 100, 200, but over 500 Americans who want to get the hell out of Afghanistan and away from the Taliban and ISIS-K and those murderers, savages. And the Biden administration has just dropped the ball. So I won't reiterate my feelings about that. You know them. Your audience heard them.
Yeah.
I don't think Biden's a fit president on any level, and the State Department that he has is horrendous on any level, whether you're on the right or the left. I will stand by that. I could give examples of that, but I won't do that on the radio. Having said that, though, Matt, let me give you two names. Now, I mentioned this before because this guy's in Manchester, and he's a former school teacher. He's a great broadcaster, a very friendly, amicable man for sure. Chris Chinnis. Chris Chinister. Have you heard of him at all in Manchester?
I don't think so. No.
School board member, you said?
I would Google him. I thought Jenny might know him from before, but he'd be willing to talk on the show, and he's like you. He's trying to take that middle ground. Clyde Lewis tries to take that, but he's so much of a showman sometimes. Get this, Matt, talking about he talks in circles when he talks to these topics. He's good when he analyzes the political scene, but he'll say, "Yeah, I think we have witnesses that say that they've seen UFO bases underwater, and they've seen them come out of the water and just take off." And then he goes back. He says, "Well, there's no really direct evidence of this, but we're pretty sure it's true."
I read it on the
Thank God
internet.
you don't do that, Matt. I'm telling you right now, that would be disappointing.
Yes.
But I would just mention a couple of other people. There's Rashid Gabriel, who's originally from Lebanon. She's a great scholar, and I think she would come on the show or talk with you. And finally, there's a guy, Mike. Is it not Mike Lee? Mike Lee's. Oh man, wait a minute. I think I have it. Yeah, Jim Lee, Matt.
Okay.
Jim Lee has he's a climatologist, an expert. He has a great website for people, climateviewing.com. Climateviewing.com. Out to your audiences. You should check him out.
Yeah.
There's another guy called Frank Sellinger. Frank Sellenberger. That's his name. He's a great climatologist, and expert on weather, and he's written a great book. I was reading, I gave it to Al, but it's called Apocalypse Never. And it's not about theology or revelation.
Yeah.
It's about what's really happening with the weather cycles and the environment. And it's different from what you hear from AOC and the hapless Biden administration. So just want to throw those out, just if you wanted to Google them or look at their sites, or your audience does. I think they'd be quite informative.
Sir,
Finally,
I have
when
looked
you were
at,
playing
I'm
the
sorry,
other
go ahead.
day that song from Mountain, wait a minute, Mailbox.
Oh, Mailbox Dog,
right?
yes. Crazy Joe's band, yes.
Crazy just that wasn't a bad song. You know who I thought that was?
Who?
I thought that was early Ozzy Osbourne singing.
Oh, really? Oh, no.
That's a compliment.
Mike Sudderth, our friend Mike Sudderth, had something for you. What were you going to say, Mike?
So I had heard about the book, The Apocalypse Never book. I actually was looking at it last night as I researched tonight's show. And I don't like to get into the political stuff, but it was really cool how, a climatologist saying that, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm a schooled economist, not a climatologist or a meteorologist, but he was correcting that this stuff is somewhat cyclical. Am I right? Like over hundreds of years or decades or what, it's cyclical, and it may not just be that cows are farting that's messing things up.
That's right. Thanks, Mike. And he comes from a position when he was younger where he thought, it's all about carbon, I guess, but he realized he wasn't researching it carefully. And when he researched it carefully, and I've not spoken, but I've heard other climatologists talk about this. For example, in the Middle Ages, if you went like 1400 to 1600, they had terrible heat waves and droughts and floods and stuff. And then in addition to that, they had, of course, the plague. Does that sound familiar? Have you heard of COVID-19?
That does sound
familiar.
They didn't get vaccinated. That's what happened.
Mike, I'm so glad you're aware of that book. Isn't it a great book? He's so objective. He's so kind. I've heard him talk about the book on, I don't know if it was a Billy Cunningham show, one of the shows.
Yep.
And he's brilliant. He's articulate. He's only about early 50s, I think, and we need more of this dialogue out there, especially when this Biden administration, I'm no fan of them, but full disclosure, for a lot of reasons I won't go into.
No, but
they're ready to spend like almost they say 3.5 trillion, but it's more like $5 trillion on wacky programs, Mike, that don't make sense and will hurt the budget, hurt the economy. And already there are bad signs with the, I know Matt's overly optimistic. I think others, but, inflation is going up significantly now. The job report last week or the week before was horrible. You keep spending like this and eventually you're out of money. And the idea, what the left always does, particularly the socialists, we're going to tax the rich. Don't worry, working class person, Marty or Mike or Matty. Don't worry, we're just going to tax the rich. That's bullshit. I mean, once you tax the rich like that, it trickles down to the truckers who are trying to move the freight, to groceries, to local taxes, and we get it in the neck as a middle class. So I say this is my point, Mike and Matt. Speak the truth in dialogue, Let's look at, I'm willing to look at some of the failures of Trump. I'm a supporter of him, his policies, not necessarily his personality, I get it. But still, his policies, his values, his affirmation of babies in the womb, I'm for that. And I fight that battle in dialogue with clinical social workers because they tend to buy in a nonsensical, a non-thinking way, non-critical thinking way into every left motif that comes out. They just say, well, it must be right, I guess.
Well,
no, it's not necessarily
blanket
right.
belief is always bad, isn't it?
Some of it is very, very wrong, though.
The blanket belief is always bad, correct? I'm sorry if I cut you off there, but a blanket belief, either be it left or right, is always very troublesome. The people who adore the right just because it's the right, because that's how, my birth mother, taught me, or because how my college roommate taught me. A blanket belief is, and it may be, in a man's case, because we develop slower, it took me a long time to be like, hey, let's look at the numbers, let's look at, follow the money, and, blanket beliefs of, we had a bad winter this year because of climate change. Like
Yes.
I don't buy that stuff. Show me numbers, show me statistics that like this is the coldest winter that's ever happened, and it's because of jet fuel. Or it's the hottest summer ever based on jet fuel, which we'll never get. I don't think in my lifetime. And the carbon footprint thing I buy into. I like to recycle and all this, but I don't like economic development being constricted by blanket beliefs of.
That's right.
I
am with you. Yeah, I'm with you 100%. As Matt knows, I studied philosophy and I have a degree in this area. Not to get at my stuff. My point is, I approach it as a critical realist or as a neo-Thomist. So I follow the disciplines of Aristotle, St. Thomas Aquinas, Etienne Gilson, a great scholar. You guys can Google quickly. Is the late. He's been gone about 10 years now, but the Jesuit scholar Bernard Lonergan, or the English scholar G.K. Chesterton. So what I'm talking about is what's happening in our schools. I know it's jumping to another topic here. Public schools generally is indoctrination and intimidation. And I won't go into the examples of that right now because we don't have the time. I want to get off and let you guys go. But my point is, if you use logic and you use reasoning and you use common sense carefully, as you're saying, Mike, I appreciate that, and I value what you're saying, that will help us find the middle ground and find creative solutions and not be biased by ideology. There is a movement worldwide now. I mean, in fact, you can go to the scandal in Afghanistan that Matt knows I'm just so livid about. Over 500 Americans there, and they're going to be killing them soon. But my point is that you see these, Mike, these overgeneralizations, and what the left. I mean, it happens on the right too. Don't get me wrong, but what the left does with that is they use deception, fear, and rage and hatred. And they're teaching that critical race theory and all this bullshit. They're teaching that to our kids.
Can't
so
say that word.
They're not learning how to think. They're learning from there. So when the teachers go back to work, if they ever go back to work, they're learning what to think. It's an ideology, and it's an ideology of the left. And I would feel the same way about the right.
Yeah.
If you go to a Catholic school, and I went to some Catholic schools, and you have Christian faith in that faith community, that's one thing. But if you go to a public school and you're getting, it's interesting how they flip it. Well, we don't want any prejudice. We don't want Lord's Prayer in the school. Okay, I get it. But we want critical race theory. We want you to think that all white people are evil and that you're a victim. It's like, and that this nation was founded on slavery in 1619. It's just not accurate.
And if you're a white middle-aged guy like me and says otherwise to that policy or questions it, you're toast. Like you're in a bad spot.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So I've been
silent. Right,
I won't say silenced is not the right word, but I'm not encouraged to come out and say that's not the case. I don't have the time or the bandwidth.
We need a lot more logic and common sense. But common sense is not common, Mike and Matt, unfortunately.
Well, that's true.
There's a diminution in that.
We agree on that.
And you're right. They use intimidation. It could happen from both sides, but socialism.
Absolutely.
I've looked at this a long time. They really like to use intimidation. If you don't support us, AOC. I mean, this anti-Semitic stuff that comes out of these guys is unbelievable. And Biden doesn't say anything. Harris, I give up on Harris anyway. That's my bias. I don't think she has anything in her head. But my point is, they don't stand up and say no to that stuff. They say, and let's have a dialogue. Let's agree to disagree amicably and logically. They just say, if you don't agree with us, you're right, Mike. We're going to shut you down. We're going to. NASW is doing that now.
Well, they label you as the problem I have with that whole.
You're going to lose your job. You could have a job, but you're going to keep your mouth shut. You can't come to any more meetings. I've had that happen to me.
Have you? Yeah.
So, but they still let me do supervision with the junior social workers, and I still say, put the phone away.
God bless you for being.
We need to look at theory and practice.
God bless you for being
and
in the
mission of
social
the
arena, which is not traditionally a conservative or, and I'm using labels here, but not traditionally the folks I know who are in social work, which is a beautiful field to be in, and a very noble field to be in because you're helping people straight up front, like front lines, to be somebody who might be willing to show their belief of, hey, I'm an economic conservative and I pay my bills, and I'm not saying the other people don't. This is where it gets real darn messy. Good for you, because I have dear friends who are in the social arena and help a lot of people who need help.
Oh, yes, Mike.
You know, kind of give me the furry eyeball when, I see, we talk about touch on politics or touch on policy or any of this.
Right.
And it comes back the exact same way that, like, well, we have assumptions about you. I'm like, well, you're labeling me. I'm a middle-aged white guy.
That's right.
And, I went to college. Well, you can't be a good person. I'm like, well,
right, I know.
I don't know what to say anymore. Yeah. Well, I'm also a musician.
Thanks, Mike, for fighting back. And Matt,
if
for
that's what I'm
doing
too. I'm tiptoeing on eggshells back. I don't know that I'm fighting back.
Oh, very good.
I hear you, brother. I'm with you there. Mm-hmm. We have to tiptoe a little bit on those shells.
I learned to be diplomatic a long time ago, and what happens in my house happens in my house, and what happens in the voting booth happens in the voting booth.
Very good.
I'm with you, brother. All right, guys, I'll let you go. Great dialogue. Great to talk with you both, and keep up the good work. We need people who are willing to dialogue. That's important.
Absolutely. All right, Dad. Love you. Thank you for the call.
Love you, Matt. Take care.
Right,
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. All right.
This really was your dad.
That was Martin Connarton. That was my dad.
Wow.
Yeah.
I always think when people call in and they jerk your chain, I mean, Gene Simmons calls in, or
right.
How many people have we have called in beyond the grave?
Wait, you don't think that's really Gene Simmons calling? Oh, that's disappointing.
You didn't know? I'm sorry, dude.
I'm kidding. I just don't like to break the fourth wall.
Ace Frehley might call in, but I don't know about Gene Simmons. Yeah. Ace Frehley's like parking cars right now, I think so.
Ace is, Ace has been playing some shows. He tours, but he's not in Kiss, obviously.
Frehley's Comet, I think, is what it used to be.
He doesn't fit in the costume anymore.
But I read some stuff about Ace Frehley, if we can divert from economics, and the guy told me about. He didn't tell me. I read the article of the book or heard the stuff on radio or whatever. But he lamented how many Gibson Les Pauls he had pawned and never picked back up. You pawn something, you give it to them, they give you $100 or whatever. He's like, I must have lost 24 Les Pauls running through New Jersey and New York. To get $100 for a bottle of Jack Daniels or whatever he did with it, I'm not here to say.
Yeah,
but it was very human to me, the story of Ace Frehley, at least in his younger years. He's probably in good shape now, but
yeah, he's been sober for. I mean, he claims she's at least 10 years, probably longer. But he's but yes, he is not in the current and presumably final lineup of Kiss. but that gives me an excuse to play an Ace Frehley song when we wrap up the show. So there you go. Did you have anything you wanted to add on the subject, Mike? Or we're almost out of time. I don't know
not on the subject. I appreciate you giving me the wrap up here. I will be over at the Hop Knot on this coming Friday. What's that? The 10th, I believe. And I don't have any other shows scheduled at the moment. I am in the works with a couple of other folks, and I will have some stuff going forward here. But I really appreciate your dad calling in, and I know it's some stuff that I really try hard to stay away from.
Yeah.
Because if you blossom me, meaning blossom, like you open me up, I make a concerted effort. It's opinions,
Yeah.
And I was talking to somebody this weekend that like your opinions are different than facts, So it's like I think you and I have talked about like, Mike, you don't like Metallica? I'm like, no, I don't like Metallica. I can appreciate it, but that's not what I listen to on the way to work, or when I wake up on a Sunday morning, I don't play Metallica. And to have somebody say, how can you be like that? That's where I draw the line, dude, because like I could say, well, don't you love the Grateful Dead? Well, no, they're terrible, dude. They're old and they jam and noodle for. I'm like, well, that's what I like. That's an opinion, and that's
Yeah, of course. Well, it's art. Art is subjective.
and that's what I somewhat tried to attach to what I do here for you guys.
Yeah.
Is, numbers don't lie. I like that thing, but the opinion thing of you shouldn't or can't, and the mask thing is kind of degenerated, I guess, or evolved. I'm not sure what the right term is. Into, if you want to wear a mask, that's cool. I'm not going to give you a hard time for it, but I don't want to be, have a rubber band shoot at me at the line in Walmart because I wasn't wearing a mask. They said I didn't have to. When they told me I had to, I wore the bloody mask.
Right.
Opinions are different than
You wore a
facts.
bloody mask. That's
my wife's British, dude.
that's disgusting.
Yeah, that is disgusting. I picked up the colloquial English here over the years from my British wife. But do you know what I'm saying? That unless, and I don't have a problem with requirements by the law. You can smoke cannabis or you can't, or you can drive drunk or you can't, and that's just bad representation. But
no, but
it's like you have to wear a motorcycle helmet or you don't have to, and. And I think in New Hampshire, you still don't have to wear a helmet if you don't want to, right?
Correct, yeah.
It's free. But I'm not going to sit in a bar or at a cocktail party with friends and be like, what? You're not wearing a helmet?
Right, of course.
The guy's like, I don't own a motorcycle. So that's, I have no, where this came from is, and this is deep water. I was talking to a woman about abortion. And I said, first thing I said, I'm a guy. Like, my opinion is irrelevant.
Right.
I can give you my opinion or feeling, but we're here on a Friday night drinking beer. Like, I don't think my opinion as a man is relevant to abortion.
Right.
I can give you my opinion, but at that point it goes right to, I don't like Metallica,
Right.
And the last thing in my brain is I don't want a woman politician saying, we're going to have to castrate you at 21. That's what I liken it to. It's my body. Like, I don't want somebody of the opposite sex saying what I have, or anybody else. So I may have an opinion about abortion, but my opinion is really not relevant to a young woman who is with or without child, or wants to be or doesn't want to be. So when it gets into these laws about that stuff, it's opinions and facts are really what's drawing some attention to my brain right now. That opinions, I want you to have your opinion.
Right.
I want you to have your opinion. You want to vote for our existing mayor of Manchester, but I have an opinion that I might want to vote for somebody else. And that's all cool, man.
Well, all I know is I object to Metallica being played at Planned Parenthood. And that's where I draw the line on things.
Didn't they play like Metallica or somebody to when we first got to Iraq or Afghanistan or something, which is a whole nother can of worms, like as a deterrent, like they'd put the big speakers up and to demoralize the troops?
I remember hearing stories about that. Absolutely. Well, we're out of time. Mike Sudderth, thank you again. Another
My
great
pleasure,
segment.
brother.
Absolutely. And I'm glad I got to introduce you to my dad. And thank you to everybody who called in today. Lots of great calls. If you missed any part of today's show, it'll be up in just a little bit at WMNHradio.org and at my website, mattconnarton.com. Don't forget, tomorrow, of course, we will have our Wednesday segment with Dirk Don. He's going to be doing a review this week of Insane Clown Posse. And also in the first hour, we're going to be joined, Eric Pilcher is going to be calling in. He has some... thoughts on our acquaintance from New York City, Crazy Joe, that he just wanted to kind of put out there. And he's a friend of Dirk's, and any friend of Dirk's is a friend of ours. I shouldn't use that phrase, friend of ours. Sorry, I've been on YouTube watching Sopranos clips. I don't mean to imply anything. There's no such thing as the mafia anyway, right, Mike? I noticed you're awfully vague about what you used to do for work. Were you in the mob?
No, I was not in the mob.
Okay.
I went to college because I was taught to. No, I'm a white Northern European American. I was not in La Cosa Nostra.
All right.
But I have heard about it, and I heard it was still a real thing, and maybe we should do a show on unions sometime, but of course I would not want to walk out of here. And
Right, that's true, yeah. That would be interesting.
Treat that stuff very lightly.
Yeah.
They got bills to pay, too. I'm not interested.
That's right. All right. We'll talk to y'all a little bit later. Bye, everybody.
Good night.